And as Joe put it, it's summed up in that slogan that rings across the world: no justice, no peace. It's not rocket science. You don't have to be Einstein to work it out. No justice, no peace. Now, what would justice mean? Well, the first thing it must mean is that the Palestinian people who were driven from their homes in their hundreds of thousands more than 60 years ago, and who are now generation after generation living in exile, the lucky ones here, the unlucky ones in rat-infested, rancid refugee camps, must have the right to return to their homes and their land. This is an absolute minimum term for any kind of solution. There's no point in doing a deal with anybody. If you can find one, maybe you can. There is no point in doing a deal with anybody that leaves this right unrequited. It is an inalienable right. It is a legal right. It is a moral right. It's a historic right. Forever. If somebody steals something from you, it remains yours, no matter how long the thief manages to hold on to it. So, there can be no justice, which leaves the Palestinian people in exile in their camps or scattered to the four corners of the world. Their country wiped off the map. They're always talking about people threatening to wipe Israel off the map. They usually say that Ahmadinejad threatened to wipe Israel off the map, although every professor of Farsi from Tokyo to Timbuktu has already pronounced that actually he never said any such thing. But never mind. Iran doesn't have the means of wiping Israel off the map. But Israel has the means of wiping Iran off the map, and every other country in the region too. And we know that because the brave Jew Mordechai Vanunu went to prison for 20 years for telling us that they did. These falsehoods are to mask the fact that the only country which has been wiped off the map is Palestine. Go to your atlas and see. So until there is a Palestine back on the map, until the Palestinian people can return to their land and their homes, until Jerusalem is again a capital of a Palestinian state, until Palestine has an Arab border, there can be no peace, because there is no justice. That's the long and the short of it. Now I supported the Oslo Agreement 16 years ago. I was always with Arafat from my age of 21. I was with him in Paris in the hospital when he died. And so I supported the Oslo Agreement. He persuaded me that because of the balance of force and power in the world, the pitiful, pitiful absence of any Arab factor in the equation, the collapse of the Soviet Union and the socialist camp, the unwillingness of the European Union and others to try to be a counterbalance to the United States. Because of all these things, a compromise that would give the Palestinians just 23% of historic Palestine would have to be accepted. But in the 16 years since the Oslo Agreement was signed, in which this grotesque Berlin Wall has been built on illegally occupied Palestinian land, in which cities that they call settlements, but are in fact cities, huge Beverly Hill type cities, have been built on illegally occupied Palestinian land. Because of the massacres in Gaza in 2008, 2009, because of the ethnic cleansing of Arab Jerusalem, the destruction of houses, the growth of military roads and hundreds upon hundreds of checkpoints, it is no longer possible, in my view, to separate out of this tiny piece of land two separate states, especially if the refugees are to exercise their legal right to return. So I say the best solution, the most just solution, the only democratic solution is to have one state from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, a binational state called Israel-Palestine or Palestine-Israel, call it in which order you like, in which the Jews, the Muslims and the Christians live as equal citizens under the law. What's wrong with that? What could conceivably be wrong with that? You could only oppose that if you insisted on a racist, exclusivist Jewish state, like Lieberman wants to pretend that Israel is. He's not a fringe character, he's the foreign minister of Israel. He has the power to bring down the Israeli government and make a new one. He has insisted that the non-Jews in what they call Israel must sign an oath of allegiance, an oath that accepts that they are living in a Jewish state and thereby render themselves automatically second-class citizens in that state. You know, even the Ku Klux Klan wouldn't have tried that one down in Mississippi, asking the American blacks to sign an oath that they were living in a white country. I was myself, one of my comrades is here, for many, many years, an activist in the struggle against apartheid South Africa. I was one of the only people on the left in the world who actually was sent underground into apartheid South Africa.